Greetings, family, and welcome back to Raising the Vibe. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't done so already, I ask that you subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, hit the like button. What I want to discuss today is something that actually is cause for concern, at least to me. And it is the fact that the government of Sierra Leone has sold about 250 acres of pristine beachfront land and rainforest to the Chinese government for industrial purposes, in specific for a fishing harbor. China? Now, it would appear that the deal was first announced back in 2019. I never heard anything about it. And apparently it was finalized in May of this year, but it is highly concerning. The news reports indicate that Sierra Leone sold this pristine beachfront and rainforest land to China in exchange for a $55 million grant, and that the Sierra Leonean government has also set aside about $1.3 million to be used in connection with the project. Some of the reports claim that the Sierra Leonean government didn't even own all of the land at issue, and that they effectively seized some of the land from private landowners and only gave them like pennies on the dollar. Of course, China is known for overfishing, for lack of care about the environment, destruction of the environment. And so the deal has sparked a lot of outrage, not only from the local landowners who are affected by the deal, but also local activists, global monitoring and reporting groups, human and animal rights groups. China in particular is not known for caring for the environment. And this land is in a section of Sierra Leone called Black Johnson Beach, which is known for having gold and black sands, and which is in an area that is home to a number of endangered species, and is also a place where whales and dolphins apparently are seen. Now, full disclosure, I've never been to Sierra Leone. It has been on a list of African countries I intend to visit, but I have not yet made it there. But whether I've been there or not doesn't change how disturbing I found this news to be when I first heard it. And clearly, I'm not the only one who's concerned, because the activists, both locally and globally, are calling the deal disastrous, saying that it will destroy tourism, that it will destroy the environment, that it is quote unquote catastrophic. I think there are legitimate reasons to be concerned about this deal, and I'm going to share some of them now. China is known for overfishing, destroying and wiping out the businesses of small, local, indigenous fishermen wherever they go, severely depleting fish stocks. And in this deal in particular, there's obviously concern about destruction of the rainforest and the marine ecosystem. Now, some claim that the World Bank conducted an analysis back in 2017 and explicitly determined that this land would not be suitable for a fish harbor. My research reveals that China owns about 75% of the large fishing vessels that troll the seas near Sierra Leone. And although China claims that it hasn't allowed any new fishing vessels into that area since 2016, the Sierra Leonean Navy and global monitoring groups have seen illegal vessels flying with the Chinese flag operating in the area. Indeed, some of those vessels have been seized. As recently as in April, 2 were seized. So clearly there's a problem. In fact, the concerns are not limited to just Sierra Leone. Actually, international monitors are concerned that China is depleting fish stocks across West Africa. For example, the Chinese have been allowed to come into the Gambia fishing industry. In March, the BBC reported that the Chinese destroyed an entire lagoon through pollution in connection with its fishing industry there. And Gambian officials only fined the Chinese $25,000 for destroying that entire lagoon, according to the reports. And then when the Gambian officials ordered the Chinese to stop dumping pollution into that lagoon, the Chinese built a pipe that now dumps that pollution into the ocean on a public beach. Apparently, there's a horrible stench that flows out of the pipe onto this public beach, and local Gambians have tried to destroy that pipe, but the Chinese repeatedly rebuild it with the approval of the Gambian government. It appears that China induced the Gambia to allow it to build that fishing plant by canceling $14 million in Gambian debt and investing another $33 million in agricultural and fisheries development in the Gambia. Apparently, the project in the Gambia was part of China's Belt and Road Initiative in Africa, which has resulted in China becoming the largest investor in infrastructure in Africa. So as a result, China has financed many of the, or most really, of the roads, airports, pipelines, and even port projects on the continent. Primarily, China has accomplished this through loans, but as we can see from my video on Zambia, there are dire consequences when an African country is unable to service the debt on those loans from China. My research reveals that China is the world's largest producer of fish, and the global demand for fish and seafood is increasing. And China is becoming more and more aggressive in its tactics involved in being able to supply that demand. In fact, it would appear that the U.S. imports most of its fish from China, and some of that involves fish that was caught in the U.S. and sent to China for processing and then sent back to the U.S. for sale. And the same thing is happening in West Africa. The last thing I want is food processed in China. They don't have care or concern not only for the environment, but for humans either. They do it to their own population, selling them spoiled and contaminated food articles, and they certainly export them around the world as well. Research further reveals that approximately 1/4 of the global fish catch is used to create fish meal for a growing billion-dollar aquaculture industry, which involves catching wild fish, using that fish to feed captive fish in fish farms, and then selling those captive fish for human consumption. Maybe it's just me. Why are we not just catching wild-caught healthy fish and eating that? Doesn't put extra dollars in people's pockets. With that knowledge in mind, there were a lot of concerns about the fish harbor in Sierra Leone being used to produce fish meal. And so the Sierra Leonean ministries are insisting that no fish meal will be coming from this harbor and that it will only be used to catch tuna and other bigger fish, and it will include a waste management system. In my opinion, the poor countries of Africa are no match for the greedy, overreaching country of China. And like, for example, with the Gambia fish plant that I just talked about, they waived a loan of $14 million. That's not even that much money. I certainly am not a multimillionaire, but I know that $14 million is not enough money to allow the Chinese to come in and pollute up your environment and destroy your local fishing industry. Okay? Now, looking up Sierra Leone, I researched some statistics, and that is indeed a very poor country as well. It would appear that Sierra Leone ranks 180 out of the world's 187 poorest countries. So we can see why they would be vulnerable to this kind of deal from the Chinese. The research also reveals that there have been 11 years of armed conflict in Sierra Leone, starting from the 1990s into the early 2000s. So obviously that creates widespread destruction, poverty as well. It is said that about 60% of the population there lives on less than $1.50 a day. Again, I've never been there. I can't speak to the truth of this or what it feels like in that country, but I am aware that these poor countries are no match for China. What I will say is this: my whole platform is about unity among Africans on the continent and in the diaspora. And these kinds of incidents confirm to me that unity is the key. A small country like Gambia that is impoverished, or an impoverished country like Sierra Leone, can't begin to effectively negotiate with a financial powerhouse like China. But joined together with other African states, these countries will have more economic and political power, more geographic reach, a stronger ability to effectively negotiate. I don't have a solution to what this is, but I think that at the very least, we have to make these things known. I'm very interested in African topics, and I knew nothing about this. I imagine there are other Blacks across the globe who are very interested in Africa who may not know about this as well. So I have brought it out here for our observation, perhaps further discussion. And family, China is a problem on the continent, and something needs to be done about it. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found this video informative. If you have ideas, suggestions, solutions, please drop them in the comments. And until next time, family, peace and love, love and light. I look forward to seeing you again.